Good morning and welcome to XML Prague. I always wanted to welcome you to XML Prague, and I'm really happy to be here again. We really missed going to in-person events in these years, and it was a bit depressing to be. I'm really happy to have you here and to host another Oxygen Users Meetup as we did in the last, I don't know how many years at XML Prague. So we ended the last conference that we've been to was XML Prague in February in 2020. And this is our first in-person event after this period of time. So it's great to be here. And I have also a team from Synchrosoft, our company. We are 6 people in total, so 5 other colleagues from Synchrosoft are here, and we hope to share some of the things that we've done during this time with you, and see also other directions that we went to, and maybe some of the products that we developed or solutions will help you either in your company or maybe to set up some solutions for your clients if you are a consultant. So my name is George Bina. I'm one of the founders of Synchrosoft, the company that develops Oxygen XML editor. We started in 1998, and shortly after we started the company, we initially we worked with XML, but a few years after, we started to develop a tool for XML, an XML editor. And in time, we developed more than just the XML editor. A few things about me, probably one interesting part may be that apart from XML, I also started to dance Argentine tango about 5 years ago. And that takes some of my time now, replacing some of the business trips with tango trips these days. So today, to start the meetup, I wanted to give you like a quick overview of the tools that we created around Oxygen XML editor. They are related with XML and with what we do. Here it is like a quick overview from some screenshots from our website where you can find all these tools. So along with the main tools that you see on the first row, there are also some additional helper tools like the style basket, the scripting, or the SDK, or the license server that help a bit. So initially when we started, Oxygen was a tool for XML development, basically. So this is how we started, and in time we moved to cover also XML authoring at some point. And we extracted the Oxygen XML developer as a separate tool to keep the original focus. Let's say the development focus is the Oxygen XML developer product, while the editor remained to contain basically also the development part, but also the authoring part, the visual authoring part that we provide as part of XML Author. Why we did this? Because on the market there are 2 sets of tools, like the development tools like Stylus or XML Spy, these kind of tools, and then XMetal or Arbortext were on the authoring part. So we needed to allow people to have the equivalent of what is in the market, but also we kept inside Oxygen XML editor the entire set of functionality that we have, because really even when you create something for authoring, you need some of the development tools as well. So the editor really helps having everything together to be able to combine all this functionality. So that's why, in a way, the editor is the author plus developer, but really the author is a projection of the functionality that we have in Oxygen tuned for authoring, and the development is a projection of the functionality tuned for development. Then we started at some point, and some of you probably remember that we introduced these tools here in Prague. we started to look also in collaboration and making, allowing people that are not really familiar with XML or don't want to learn XML or it's not their job to learn XML to be able to create XML content or interact with XML content directly without without having the need to go to another format, allow them to interact in that and import back to XML. So we created the Oxygen XML web author for this. This allows basically reaching an XML content just by following a link. That's the main power, let's say, for the author. Then we created a collaboration platform which is called Oxygen Content Fusion that uses the web author as a component inside, but allows to share content, and we added more functionality also to this, like concurrent editing, for instance, to allow people to work in the same time on the same document. And also on collaboration and review, we created a new product, a web-based product, which is called Oxygen Feedback, that allows basically to comment on some output content. Like you can embed this on an HTML page. But the difference from tools like Discuss or something else is that this can integrate back to Oxygen to bring some of the comments to map them to the XML content, to the source content. So then when you have a comment, even if it's done on the output, you can still retrieve and link that, find that in the XML source. So you can, I don't know, maybe improve that or see to what is related. Then we also have some tools on the publishing side. We have the Oxygen XML web help, and actually the publishing from Oxygen, there was a challenge when you set up something and you can publish and looks fine from Oxygen, and then you want to automate that. And I found out at some point that it took me, like more time to get that out and be able to reproduce the same thing without Oxygen. So we decided to create this Oxygen publishing engine to be able to take, you have something works okay, and then you can be sure that it will work in the same way when you take it outside Oxygen. So the Oxygen publishing engine basically allows it's mainly for data transformations, but we also have for other transformations, we have Oxygen XML scripting that I will get to that in a moment. So these two, publishing engine and scripting, allow you to run different things that work already in Oxygen, and you see that you validate that they work correctly for you and be able to move them outside Oxygen, maybe in a continuous integration server or as a script or something like that, so you can trigger them on some event or daily or whatever. So the publishing engine contains the web help for modern publishing from data, and PDF chemistry, which are also one of our products, to generate PDF based on CSS styles. The Oxygen web help also integrates with feedback and with the Oxygen XML editor, exactly to be able to put comments on the output, so people can comment on the published output, and then to retrieve the comments and link them back to the source. So when you are in Oxygen, let's say, and you edit a topic, you can see if people commented on that topic and what were those comments. The PDF chemistry takes XML or HTML and CSS and produces PDF. And then we wanted a visual tool to customize the web help and the PDF output. And we created the Oxygen Styles Basket, which is a free web service where you can choose. The idea here is that you have a number of different styles that you can choose from and see a preview of how the output will look like. And then in this way you can decide how you want the titles, how you want, I don't know, tables to look like and so on. And then you get a customization for the web help and the PDF transformation, which may serve as a starting point, let's say, for further development, if you want, or as the final customization. I mentioned also when I talking about the publishing engine, about the XML scripting. So we extracted, we wanted to allow our users to be able to use some of the functionality that we have in Oxygen also to automate different processes. So we extracted in this Oxygen XML scripting for data, the validate and check for completeness, to run transformation scenarios. So if you have in Oxygen a transformation that does some output, you can run the same from command line. And then we have some plugins that help with translation or with the conversion between different formats. And this is also possible to be run through a script using the scripting, the Oxygen XML scripting, to generate documentation from XSLT schemas, VSDL, and I think now this works also for JSON, right, Octavian? Yes. Yes. So the refactoring operations are very interesting in Oxygen. When you are, most of you are familiar with XSLT and XQuery, right? But when you run an XQuery or XSLT script, it will change completely the source document in some cases, adding default attributes or reformatting the document completely. So with refactoring operations, we try to apply XSLT and XQuery, but keep the document as it was, and change, for instance, if your style sheet adds one attribute, you should be able to see just that attribute as the only difference in the output. So the refactoring operations allow you to apply XSLT and XQuery update scripts to modify the document exactly only the part that you want to modify. And this is also available as through the scripting. Compare files and directories, and the merge support is also available, and the possibility to obtain from multiple schemas one large schema. And there are plans to add more to the XML scripting. Maybe Octavian will share that later, maybe at the end. We also have a lot of plugins and additional frameworks. We call these add-ons. So things that can plug into Oxygen. And there are really a lot of additional plugins that you can install. These are some of the ones that we provide as default plugins for Oxygen, covering different, different things. You can find this on that URL, and I will share the slides after. And basically these are built, and you can also use our SDK, which is generally available, to build either your own applications that include Oxygen as a component, or to extend Oxygen another plugin that will add some functionality to Oxygen. And there are also some commercial plugins that people develop and sell in connection to Oxygen to extend the functionality in some ways. For larger organizations that want to manage the access to Oxygen, we provide also, without a cost, a license server. And this supports both floating licenses as well as user-based licenses. So we have an organization with close to 1,000 users, for instance, that want to manage the access to Oxygen. And during the meetup, my colleagues will cover the customization, and SDK will be covered by Alex with frameworks using extension script. Collaboration and review will cover this with two presentations on the publishing, customization, development. Octavian will cover some parts of that. And also, Alex will present some add-ons. So I think, just in time to invite Alex to continue. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the sessions.